Hi everybody, I'm Coach Mike. Thanks for joining me for this multi-level split training video. So this is meant for people who are complete beginners that can't even touch their toes, all the way up to people who are just achieving their splits for the first time and want to make improvements. I personally can't do the splits yet. I've been working on it for a while, but these are some of the stretches I've used to go from not being able to touch my toes to almost being able to do the splits. So if you are more advanced or are a return viewer, I have included timestamps so you can skip the description and jump right to the working out. If you're new to flexibility training or this is your first time doing the video, there are a few things that you will need in order to make the most out of your time with this video. First thing I recommend is yoga blocks. If you don't have a pair yet, I do highly suggest it, especially if you're serious about training your flexibility. This is a very powerful tool and they only cost around 10 bucks. You can get them on Amazon. I can include some links below of ones that I've liked. I'm not sponsored in any way, but yoga blocks, fantastic. They're great for helping your flexibility. The second thing you'll need, and oftentimes if you are purchasing yoga blocks, they do come with a yoga strap. So maybe look for a set with that. If not, a towel comes in handy. This is especially helpful if you are not quite able to touch your toes yet. So towel or yoga strap work fantastically. For the workout today, we're gonna be holding the stretches for 60 seconds a piece. So it's a long time. So you wanna choose a position that brings you to about a 6 or 7 out of 10 stretch, something you can hold comfortably without needing to fidget, grunt, or hold your breath. You should have mild discomfort, and near the end of the stretch, we can work and increase the stretch to about an 8 or 9 out of 10 for those last little chunks. We've got 30 stretches, so it's a 40-minute video. This is a big one. So without further ado, let's jump in. All right, so we're gonna start our workout with hip openers. So have a seat on the floor with the hips open to 90 degrees, knees to 90 degrees. Try to keep your tailbone off of the ground. If you have troubles keeping your tailbone off the ground, just sit on your yoga block and we're gonna rock the knees in and out like so. So for our warm up, we're just doing 45 seconds of 4 different movements just to get juices flowing. So let the knees fall in. If you notice that you're starting to crawl forward with your bum, just make sure that when you push the leg back, you're pushing the hip back where it came from. So nice gentle movement. Just getting the hips warm. Next up, we're moving into pikes and squats. So bring the feet together. And from here, we're gonna try to go to a pike stretch, bouncing the stretch, 1, 2, and then squatting 1, 2, 2, and 1, 2. When you squat down, try to keep your heels on the floor if you're able to. If you must lift them in order to get the knees fully closed, that's fine too. So we're gonna move into a Cossack squat. So bring the feet nice and wide, about as wide as your wingspan, toes facing forward. And from here, we're gonna squat down to one side and try to transfer low from side to side. Stay as low as you comfortably can. Try to keep the chest upright. It's very common for people to dump the chest forward. So I'd rather you be up here with the chest upright than down low, but dumped forward. So stay nice and high. All right, we're gonna finish off with a down dog with running the feet. So bring yourself to a down dog position, and we're just gonna walk the feet out to stretch the calves. Feeling a nice little stretch in the calves here. All right, so we're gonna start our series with a standing pike. So stand with the feet together, legs stay nice and straight, and we'll bring ourselves down to the floor. If you can't reach your toes yet, just grab your yoga block and find what position you need to keep the legs straight. Make sure the quads stay nice and tight, and settle in. Try to shift your hips to be stacked directly over your heels and have a little bit more weight in your toes. You can think about pulling the tailbone up to the sky to help straighten out the legs. All right, moving on, we're gonna do an Achilles stretch on the left leg. So come to a kneeling position, and you're gonna use the weight of your body over top of your knee. Try to make sure this heel stays down. And we're gonna be stretching this knee forward, starting to feel the stretch low on the leg. This other leg, you just try to keep it out of the way so it's not involved in the stretch. Just let your body weight sink onto this foot so you can feel that stretch low in the calf here. Make sure that heel stays down. All right, same thing on the other side. So right leg, we're gonna get set up into our Achilles stretch. Again, make sure the heel stays down and use your body weight on the thigh to try and pull this knee as far forward as you can, feeling the stretch low in the ankle. We're starting from the ground up today. Start with the ankles, and then work our way up the back of the leg for our forward folding. Then we move on to more of the inner thigh, so the middle split, and we finish with a bit of quad before diving right into our full split. I'm gonna try the splits once today, see how it goes. Almost there. So go ahead and grab your block. We're gonna do toe up on the block and let's start left foot up on the block, keep that left leg straight, and we're gonna fold over that leg. We're trying to shift the hips forward so that the heel is under the hip and the toe is curled up, and we're feeling that stretch right behind the knee, just below behind the knee. Make sure this leg stays straight. Feel that big stretch. If you can't reach the toe, that's fine. Use your block, like so. All right, we're gonna switch right over to the right side. Same stretch for the gastroc. Try to make sure the leg stays straight. And we're trying to get the hip over top of the heel. Pick about a 7 out of 10, and then increase the intensity as the stretch goes on. All right, we're moving into a pyramid pose. So we're gonna take a slight step back with the right foot. So we're in a slight split stance. And the left foot we're bending forward on, trying to bring the hands to the floor. If you can't reach the floor yet, just grab your blocks and use those for support. And we're trying to tip over that front leg. We're trying to bring the hands down to the floor. Keep the back nice and straight. One thing that helps a lot with the flexibility is constantly trying to keep the spine long and straight. You'll notice it allows you to take deeper breaths and keep your breathing calm if your back is straight. If you're hunched and rounded, it's harder to breathe and it's hard to keep the nervous system calm. So a nice long spine helps. You may not feel like you can get as far into the stretch, but if you keep your spine straight, you'll notice you get a much deeper stretch because you're able to stay a little bit more relaxed in this stretching. And we're gonna go ahead and switch sides. So we've got our split stance. Front leg stays nice and straight. Again, if you can't reach the floor yet, you can put your hands on your blocks. So we can start off like so if you can't quite reach the floor yet. Another option is to put the hand on the thigh, but if you can reach the floor, that's the target. Keeping the spine nice and long and straight. So you can take those nice deep breaths. All right, next up we've got our hurdler stretch. So if you can't quite reach your toes yet, grab your towel. We're gonna start with the left side. The right leg is turned in so the foot is on the thigh. If you can't reach the toes yet, use your towel around your foot to help pull yourself in position. Try to keep your back as straight as you can. So prioritize getting the back straight. If you're at the toes already, then lean forward and let's get it. Work on lengthening the spine as you breathe in, and then falling into the stretch as you breathe out. Actively pressing the thigh into the floor. Switch sides. Again, if you cannot reach your toes yet, keep your towel handy and you can use that. I'm going to dive right into the full version. Here we go. All right, we're gonna move into our last stretch of our hamstring series with a seated pike or forward fold. So sit with the legs out straight. If you can't sit with your tailbone off the floor yet, put a block under your bum and sit on a block. And if you can't touch the toes yet, you can use your towel under the feet to keep your back nice and straight. Or if you're able to reach the toes, let's just fold into it. Ooh, all right, our first chunk is done. We had a quick 30-second break. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit subscribe. We release new videos on Sundays and Thursdays. Lots of body weight, mobility, and flexibility focused. If not, please hit the like button if you like what we're doing today. Let me know what kind of music do you like listening to when you stretch. I always have troubles picking the music for these. I personally like some lo-fi hip hop style music. But let me know down below, what's your favorite kind of music to listen to when you stretch? We're gonna move on into our standing pancake here. So bring the feet wide. A good starting point is as wide as your wingspan, your arm span. And from here, standing with more weight on the toes, we're gonna bend forward into a forward fold with wide legs. Try to make sure that your toes point directly forward or slightly inward. Try not to let them point out. Pointing them out will make the stretch more of a hamstring stretch. The eventual goal of this is to get your head on the floor. into a seated butterfly. So the seat on the bum, bring the bottoms of the feet together and bring the feet in as close as you can. Sit tall and let the knees fall out to the side. If this is not quite doing it for you, you can lean your upper body forward to add a little bit more to the stretch. All right, we're gonna move into our pancake lean. So if you can't touch the toes, towel comes in handy. So nice wide seat. We can take the towel, put it over your left foot, and then use that as leverage to rotate the body. So your chest faces forward, like so. You can take this other arm on the inside of the thigh and use it as leverage to rotate your body. Feeling a nice stretch in the lower back on the right-hand side. This one can get intense. Spent years as an Olympic weightlifter, so my lower back is crazy tight. It's been a lot of work to get it loose, even to this point. You'll notice, based on your activity history, you might have areas that are tighter than others. That's just totally normal. All right, we're moving off to the other side. Keeping that wide-legged seat. Let's get the hand, or the towel. If you can reach your foot, that's great. If not, get the towel. Here we go. All right, moving into our frog stretch. So come to a kneeling position, bring the knees nice and wide. Make sure the toes point out away from each other and try to have your hip in line with your knee. Bring the knees as wide as you can and settle in. When we're done this stretch, keep the knees in the same position because we're gonna go right into frog rocking. We're here for a while. Try to settle in. So from this position, just bring your knees a teeny tiny bit closer together. We're gonna be doing some frog rocking. So we're gonna keep ourselves in the same position, but now we're just gonna be rocking the hips back and forth, in and out of this stretch. So nice and gentle, just move back and forth. You'll feel the stretch increase as you push your hips back and decrease as you come forward. Go nice and gentle. There should be no grinding or crunching or pinching in the hip joint. If you're feeling that, just bring your knees a little bit closer together for the stretch and continue. Come gently out of that one. Oh boy. All right, we're moving into an upright pigeon. So take a push-up position, bring your left foot lined up with your hands. So your shin is across the mat, and then slide your back leg back as far as you can, and we're sitting upright. If you need to, you can take a block and put it under your bum for support. You're gonna feel this stretch in the left side glute. So more important to keep the shin perpendicular to your body, or if you're on a mat, in line with the short end of the mat, and try to keep the hips squared. So you feel this stretch in the butt on the left-hand side. This is a muscle called the piriformis. Tightness in this can restrict your middle split. Now, this was a big area of work for me when I first started this journey toward the splits. Now we're gonna go ahead and switch sides. So again, push-up position, bring the right shin across the wrists. Once you're there, shin is perpendicular to your body or in line with the short end of the mat. Then we slide the knee back and try and sit the hips down, and we're nice and upright. It's better to be up high like this and have the shin perpendicular than to be low and have the shin tucked in. So get your shin perpendicular before moving back, and then move back as far as you can without sacrificing this front leg position. It's gonna make sure you get the maximum rotation out of this hip joint and really stretch that piriformis muscle. All right, we've got our floating pancake. So bring the legs wide. If you're not able to lean forward at all in this pancake position, grab a block and sit on that so you can use the leverage to lean forward. And we're gonna hold this floating pancake position for 60 seconds. Start small. Start with a 7 out of 10 stretch. And as the stretch goes on, we can slowly increase the intensity, because right from here, we're going right into a hands down relaxed pancake stretch. So we want to see how far we can get in this pancake actively. So start to really lay it on now. Think about keeping the back as straight as you can and reaching as far forward as you can. Actively pressing the legs straight and keep the toes pointed up to the sky or pointed long. 15 seconds left to see if you can increase this stretch as much as possible. All right, back off the stretch for a split second because we're gonna go right back into a relaxed pancake with the hands on the ground supporting us for the entire stretch. So here we go. Now we're in a supported pancake. If you can't reach the floor with the hands, you can take a block and lean on it, or up here if you need. Stretch into it as far as you comfortably can. I do suggest if you're gonna do this video, try to do it a couple of times per week, maybe two to 3 times per week. It shouldn't leave you too sore, but it's enough stretching to make some serious progress on your splits. It does get better with time, I promise you. When I first started, couldn't even touch my toes. Stretching felt excruciating, and now I really enjoy it. And I can feel the progress happening. I actually look kind of like a flexible person now. It's crazy to me. Oh. All right, last little break here. We got 45 seconds. Unpeel from that. We're gonna do a little bit of quad stretching next. And then we'll have our wide hurdler, and we're gonna make an attempt at the splits. It's gonna be a good time. If you've made it this far and you haven't hit like yet, please do so. Really helps other people who have similar interests find the video and get it out there. All I wanna do is help people get fit and flexible. You can help me do that too. So we're gonna move into a hip flexor stretch. So let's have the left knee on the ground, right leg up. You can use your blocks for support. And from here, we're squeezing the left butt cheek and dip the hips forward into this stretch. You should feel the stretch in the left upper part of the thigh. You can use your blocks for support to help you stay upright. Very important that you stay upright in this stretch. If you bend forward, that takes the stretch off of the hip flexor. So we want to stay upright and keep the back shin straight. Let's go ahead and switch sides here. So now the right knee is on the ground, left leg forward, and really sink into that stretch. You can use your blocks to help support you to stay upright, but if you're doing it well, you'll feel it in the hip flexor, so the top front of the back thigh. Think about lifting the chest and staying upright to sink right into that stretch. For most people, the hip flexor is what restricts the splits. I know that's where I'm at now. Usually you get the hamstring flexibility before you get the hip flexor flexibility. All right, now we've got a kneeling quad stretch. So we're gonna have the left knee down, right leg in front. So you can take your right hand on the floor, and then you're gonna lift your back foot and grab it and try to pull your heel into your bum while staying upright. So if you need support, you can use the block to help you stay upright and really just try to get that heel into the bum as much as possible. If you can get the heel to the bum, then work on trying to push the hip down toward the floor while keeping the heel in contact with your butt. You'll feel a deep stretch in the quad muscle, so the front of the left thigh. If this bothers your back knee, just take your towel, fold it up, and just place it underneath your knee. This one gets intense. Whew. Let's go ahead and switch sides. So right knee back now, left leg in front. We're gonna reach back, lift that back knee and grab the foot and try and pull that heel right into the butt. And then from here, we'd work on sinking the hips down while keeping the heel in contact with the bum to increase that quad stretch. This one's spicy. Halfway. All right, next up is our hero pose. So sit with the shins about shoulder width apart, and then try and sit your bum right down between your feet. If you can't get your bum on the floor, you can put a block under your butt like so, and then we lean back into the stretch. So for this stretch, keeping the the thighs parallel to one another is our goal, and keeping the shins touching the floor. And eventually we want to lie all the way down to bring the back on the floor. Feel a nice stretch, pretty intense stretch in the front of the quads. Whew. All right, we're moving into a wide hurdler. So left leg will be long and the right leg will be bent and pulled as far back as you can get it. You can use your towel around your foot if you can't reach quite yet, okay? Or grab the foot with the hand, try to reach the hand across. So in this case, it's our right hand gonna reach for the outside of the left foot, and keep this leg as open as you can handle. All right, same thing on the other side, right leg straight. And then after this, we attempt the splits. Ooh, it's gonna be a fun time. So when you're attempting your splits, start small. We're there for a minute, so we're gonna take our time. Again, if you need to, you can use your towel around your foot here. Otherwise, just reach with the hand. Try to reach your left hand toward the outside of the foot, if you can. Get an extra little low back stretch in the mix. Why not? right, here we go. Attempt number 1 for the splits. You can use your blocks for support beside you. Let's go left leg forward, right leg back, and go as low as you comfortably can. Start small. I'm gonna start little and then increase as the stretch goes on and see how far away I am. Try to keep the back leg squared. It's very common to open up in the right hip to take the stretch off of the hip flexor, but we want this stretch on the hip flexor so that we can eventually fully open up for our split. We're halfway through, so we can start thinking about increasing the intensity here. Bring ourselves a bit closer down. Here we go, 20 seconds left, let's work. Whew. All right, round 1 done. Let's do the other side. This is my bad side. So right leg forward, left leg back. Try to keep that back leg squared. And let's start small. We can increase as the stretch goes on. We're at the halfway point now, so we can start thinking about increasing that stretch, see if we can push ourselves into it a little bit further. 20 seconds remaining, this is tough work. I'm sweating. Here we go, let's push it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ooh. All right, now the tough one, middle split. So I'm gonna go off my mat so I've got something slidey. Start small, use your blocks for support, and then as time goes on, we can go further into the stretch. I'm gonna start pretty small and increase as time goes on. Definitely further from the middle splits than the front splits, that's for sure. Although I focus on it a lot less, so that would be why. Halfway, see what we can do. Oh boy. All right. Thanks so much for joining, guys. See how far you did. I do recommend take some before and after photos with these splits. They come in handy. I wish I took pictures when I first started because then I could see how far I've gone. But we'll see you in the next one. Thanks so much for joining. Have a great one.